Hello there. You're someone, and well, I'm the Duracell maniac, but I'm also someone else. But anyway, that's besides the point. Well, I'm the Duracell maniac, and today I'm here to tell you something about food, right? Food, healthcare, whatever, right? People are saying this is my right to have this particular thing because it's a human need. Because it's a need, it's a right. I disagree with that entirely. I don't think a need is a right. I think needs you need to make a need in order for nature to appeal to you. You know what I mean? Nature is inherently oppressive. It's not capitalism or socialism that's oppressive. Those are natural processes. It's a very weird theory that I came up with about socialism and capitalism. I think every society has a bit of socialism, but also has a bit of a lot more capitalism, because we most of the time will voluntarily exchange our stuff. There are very few people in the world that extort in order to get resources. You know what I mean? That's why I consider our society more voluntary based than extortion based. But anyway, that's besides the point. Right? So people say that food is a human right. And I would like to say this, and I have said this before in a video where I say I disagree with socialism. Or the reason I don't like socialism, that's the name of the video. I say, okay, if food's a human right, do you have the right to enslave the farmer for them to give you unlimited food for everyone else? This is a good question. Do you have a right to enslave the trucker who gives you the food? The store clerk who gives you the food? Do you have the right to do that? And if you're going to and then here's another argument. If you're going to enslave the trucker, the store clerk, and the farmer, just so you can get your human need as a free thing, right? Free stuff. You're not going to increase their minimum wage. You just can't at that point. So you either increase minimum wage and everything goes up in price, and then you start complaining that you think that's a human right. I need that food. Or, right, we could ignore the minimum wage and hopefully the go will be at the same price or lower. But then the value, I feel like if you want your human need to be a human right, or like to have as abundant as possible, why not just not support minimum wage? Because minimum wage is basically it's a price control on labor. It's forcing labor to accept a certain price, or the government's forcing both employers and employees to forcefully do a certain wage. You're getting rid of that voluntary exchange between the employer and the employee. An employee wants to work for $2 an hour. Why shouldn't they? There's so many internships that are $0 an hour. I think what's going to happen is you're going to increase minimum wage so much. All you're going to have in California for a lot of these big companies, especially the big tech companies, is just internships. And it's going to really be sad in California. That's why I didn't really move away for that reason. I moved away a while ago. But, California is a very beautiful, beautiful state, beautiful country, whatever you call it. I don't care. I don't know. Right? I do think the California governor has been talking to... Okay, I keep going to different topics. Let's just stay on topic. Okay, without the California governor, let's just stay on topic. So right... Food's a human right. Healthcare's a human right. Okay. Do you have the right to enslave or to force the doctor to work on your body over other people's bodies? That's another question. Over other people. Does the doctor... I mean, he took the Hippocratic Oath. He's not going to not perform surgery on you eventually, right? I would argue that healthcare is not a human right, because healthcare itself, the labor, I think the entitlement for the doctor's labor is more important than your right for healthcare. That's my opinion. I think the doctor's labor is way more important than your healthcare. If the doctor can improve on his labor or his skill set while helping you, then sure. But if it doesn't help him personally, why should he do it to you? Why should he help you that much? Maybe it will help him, but hypothetically, just saying, what if it doesn't? What if another patient's dying and you're the one saying, "Oh, healthcare is a human right for me in particular"? What about the person next to you that's dying? I mean, what if they have more money or more resources to give to the doctor, or more of a reason for the doctor to work on them? There's hierarchy in everything. Governments try to reduce hierarchy, but all you do is you end up creating massive wait times. When you try to reduce hierarchy, it's true. I mean, for the most part, you look at Germany; they have some pretty bad wait times. Look at Canada; they're actually starting to do euthanasia, where it's basically assisted death care. Some of the doctors have said, "Hey, you want to do assisted death care?" You've had people sign this stuff, and they're like, "I didn't want to do this at the beginning, but you convinced me." They do it like 3 times before you actually go through with it. But it's like you have veterans in the Canadian Army, right, who are told that they could be killed by medical doctors. Like, what? How is this actually helping this individual that much? I mean, yeah, they won't be existing, but that's just terrible to say to somebody, "Oh, we're not actually going to fix the problem because it's just too much money. We'd rather just go." It's terrible. And then the United Kingdom, they force every doctor pretty much. It's very hard to opt out of the National Health Service. You can't actually. You can't really, but you can technically pay for private stuff, but whatever. And then, it's so much waiting for a doctor. The United States, it's very, very corrupt here with our medical system. We got these big, giant insurance companies they hire a bunch of bureaucracy, or we call it the managerial revolution. I might make a whole video on this. This is very interesting. The managerial revolution, right? You have a bunch of these middle managers. And, the health insurance is so complicated here. It's way more complicated than Canada or the United Kingdom will be, probably. And that, to myself, it's not like socialism in the sense that, socialism, worker socialism. It's managerial socialism. It's socialism that protects of jobs for no apparent reason other than the fact that they have their human right for their labor or their pay. And the government has made it more and more complicated to get a job in the medical field, and it's just sad. I don't know what to say about all that, but I think that people saying that they have a right all this stuff as in their socialists. They say, "Oh yeah, it should be borderline free." Oh yeah, another thing, homes. No, you do not have the right to a home. Somebody labored for that home. Okay, that person should get the money up front, which they normally do by bondholders or even people who own the land, who develop the land for them. Normally the builders aren't the ones that own the land. They sometimes can if they're flippers, but they're not flippers. They're just guys that just build homes. Again, they're not the ones, most of the time. Some of the time, the people that own land also own the tools. So it's even the builders didn't pay for their own tools. Therefore, they don't own the capital to the business, so they're not entitled to all the rent that's going to come in the future, And so people are arguing, okay, why do we pay so much in rent? Well, first off, you got inflation, okay. Secondly, you have to support the bondholders that existed before the current owner, and you have to support the builders on top of that. And if there's no incentive to build homes, the only 2 ways you can convince people to build homes is with money, maybe sex, and force. That's about it. I can't think of a reason why a builder would want to build a home for free, really. I cannot think about it. And, they say, "Oh, housing should be a human right for everyone. Everyone who lives here is an American citizen." Well, and then they say plumbing, and then they say electrical. I'm like, do you know how much skill that takes to do each individual thing? Yes, it's, people in the United States think it's so easy, but then you look at other countries. Most countries, about half of them don't have plumbing. It's easier to get an iPhone than it is to get a toilet. I mean, it's insane. You do need skills like that. And the problem is we're not graduating enough plumbers in our society. We just aren't. And so that's a big issue. Is just people are looking at the wrong thing. We're graduating all these education degrees, right? Half of them didn't even get a teaching job, and the market's oversaturated, and then the wages are so down because nobody wants to teach, but then they still don't have enough teachers to to get all the students. They still get way more than 30 students a teacher because there's just teachers that just quit. The people who get education degrees, they're the easiest ones to get. So what you do is you attract, because it's the same environment you went through your 12 years of school, your 13 years of school, and then you went to college. It's the same environment once you work, that there's just no incentive to improve at all. And so you get like not the laziest of society, but just the people who have a hard time moving into a different environment when you're a teacher. You know what I mean? So you don't get people from the real world that have actually worked on things like a plumber or electrical, or even in the military, you at least experience a lot of environments. Teachers don't experience as much. And so why should any teacher give me life advice? You know what I mean? The only life advice they could probably give is, oh, we're against hierarchy, and we believe in equality, which is nice on paper, but that's not the way nature is. The little bunnies are always going to get eaten by the wolves. I'm sure there are some science teachers that say that, but it needs to be drilled in that there is an inherent hierarchy in this world. We are the top of the food chain. We should always say that in every class. You are the top of the food chain. Make sure others are eaten beneath you. You know what I mean? That should be in every classroom. That should be drilled in every classroom. Oh, the plumber will always eat better than you. That should be drilled in every classroom. I'm sorry. That should be. And the fact that no one's drilling that into our kids is dumb. The fact that people are promoting these government jobs over these and people say all those stuff's human rights. Like, teachers will even say it, I think. I have a right to my retirement, and have a comfortable plumbing and electrical situation. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know the skills to those things, and you were just stuck in an environment that already had all that stuff. But I feel like plumbers and electrical people make a lot of money with the schools, but then when they go into their own private homes, the teachers and the principals and all that stuff, they don't have the best plumbing and electrical because they have to put that out of their own pocket now instead of taxpayers' pocket. So somewhat. I mean, obviously they get paid through taxes, but that's besides the point, right? We justify all these programs. We spent $50 trillion. I'm not joking. $50 trillion to solve all these stuff that we call human rights, and it hasn't been solved. And if we would just cut a little bit off of it, $50 trillion over the last 60 years sounds absolutely ridiculous. I'm not joking. We spent more on welfare than we did on the wars, on the foreign support for Ukraine and Israel and all this crap. People always complain about all this foreign aid, but it's still not as high as the welfare or the stuff we're trying to solve. And I don't think the welfare is actually helping. I don't think it is. We're just getting into the same trap. It's not efficient. I don't know how to fix it. There's not really a way to fix it. What I would recommend you do is you do a 10-year scale, right? Every year you scale it back by 10%. The individual who's getting the welfare, right? Make it a little bit harder each year for them to be like, okay, I'm going to need a job if I want to live more comfortably. We have enough wealth where we can support a lot of people. But yeah, I just think that, okay, the main point of this video is food is not a human right because you're enslaving somebody else for that food. Therefore, the labor is more important than the food, in my opinion. The labor, whoever owns the capital of the farm is more entitled to the food than you are, in my opinion. Okay, goodbye.